Hey everyone, I'm Daleen Hassan. Welcome to Inspire Middle East, brought to you for the first time from the city of Al Ain, where we'll focus on history and heritage as we bring you a roundup of captivating stories from the surrounding region. A little bit later on in the program, we'll learn more about an indigenous alphabet that flourished in northern Arabia more than 2 millennia ago. We'll also turn our hand to a bit of Emirati Henna design, retracing its cultural and creative roots in the Middle East. But first, Salim Said is here to help us to discover Al Ain, a fascinating part of the UAE, from its architecture to its ancient history.
Located on the northeastern border of the Ruba al-Khali Desert, the so-called Empty Quarter, the world's largest continuous sandmass, has one of the UAE's highest concentrations of castles and fortresses. This is the inland oasis city of Al Ain, nearly 10,000 years old according to the UAE. These structures protected the city's coveted water and irrigation sources. With discoveries since the 1960s, a labyrinth of aqueducts was revealed, engineered to channel water from the Al Ain mountains to reach inhabitants about 15 kilometers away and provide a new way of life.
Till now, it's a complete ecosystem. You have here in the oasis those tall trees, like the palm trees and other trees, which making shade for another kind of trees like orange or fig. Then those ones, they are making shade to grow like vegetables or other herbs which used to feed their animals.
Under the protection of today's nearly 150,000 palms, the seeds of agricultural change were planted, with underwater aquifers, which eventually rose to surface-level tunnels, capped with stones to prevent evaporation and contamination. And these led to an open water storage tank easily accessed by farmers in the settlement's growing population.
Where there's water, there's life. And that's exactly what happened with the spread of waterways and irrigation systems that brought on a new wave of urbanization to the region of Al Ain. And it opened doors to the architecture that characterizes the UAE today.
The newfound water springs were mixed with Al Ain's plentiful sand to form the mud brick building blocks of the Al Muwajhi fortress in the early 20th century, a cornerstone of the UAE urban development. The imposing structure represented the modern architecture of the time. Its blocks fitted together like puzzle pieces, with mortar binding them, and its design gave way to more elaborate construction.
At the beginning, maybe they are low-scale houses, maybe only one room or two rooms with the wall surrounding it. But later on, maybe this, building and family expanded, and then they start to add rooms, and they expand the area. And in some occasion, they may have been attacked by another tribe or another people. So they start to raise up the walls, build watchtowers.
Thanks to extensive restoration work, today's Al Muwajhi serves as a window into the past. From its woven palm leaf ceilings to clay-plastered interiors. Another well-preserved, reinstated fort is Al Ain Palace, which was also once home to Abu Dhabi's royal family, and is today a popular tourist attraction, not only taking visitors back through Emirati history, but also providing a hint as to the early inspiration for the skyscraping cities that dot the UAE's coastline today.
The decorative inkings of henna have long been known to countries in the Arabian Peninsula, Africa, and the Indian subcontinent. But that's not to say it hasn't moved with the times. Rebecca McLaughlin-Easton looks at the new patterns emerging as young Emirati designers enter the creative field.
Whilst the art form of henna may be thousands of years old, just like any fashionable trend, it has taken many stylish twists and turns down the years. The temporary staining of women's hands and feet in elaborate, symmetrical and geometric patterns has deep roots in the Arabian Peninsula, Indian subcontinent and North Africa, and its appearance is commonplace at celebratory occasions like weddings, Diwali and Eid. Traditionally, henna plant leaves were powdered and mixed with water, lemon juice and sugar. However, to prolong the art's appearance beyond a week, some commercial suppliers in recent times have taken to adding potentially harmful ingredients found in hair dye. Natural henna advocate and newly established entrepreneur Azra Khamisa from the UAE recently launched her own non-toxic henna kits, incorporating essential oils, eucalyptus and lavender to nourish and beautify the skin safely, plus fill a hole in the market.
Anything that you find that's been on the shelf for a while is not fresh, and there'll always be chemicals in there. So what I wanted to provide was something that people can use at home and something that people can mix by themselves.
A chiropractor by day, Azra's passion project quickly gained a sizable following on social media as she showcased her contemporary, often boundary-pushing motifs on platforms like Instagram.
I'd say the most popular design is the one that I call a glove. So this design it's inspired by the anatomy of the body, so it goes all across, all the way through the fingers. Beyond that, moons, like everybody loves moons, especially, for Ramadan and Eid, it's a really popular design. And girls love floral work. And I don't really do much floral work, but the ones that I have done are in general quite simple and not too difficult to do yourself. So I'd say that's probably the third most popular one that girls are putting on for themselves.
Azra's aim is to blur ethnic and cultural lines associated with henna, making it accessible for all, and that includes a certain British rapper and activist for whom she has penned a particularly wild design.
If there was an artist that I could do henna for, it would have to be MIA, I guess. I really want to do a full body leopard print at some point. Although that might be a bit risque a little bit, I think, in my world. I think it would just be amazing just to try to do it on someone.
Azra has ambitions to take her brand beyond the Middle East region in the years ahead, not least to capitalise on the growing global trend for temporary tattoos, a market worth more than $827 million last year, according to MarketWatch.
I would just love for it to be possible for anyone at any time to be able to find a quality henna product. I think worldwide, maybe not so much within the Middle East, but worldwide you can always easily find a tattoo studio.
And so, as Azra continues to build her temporary henna tattoo empire, one inking at a time, her dream is to leave a permanent mark on the impermanent beauty market.
Time now for a history lesson of a different kind. In particular, revisiting an extinct alphabet so ancient that only a handful of people can understand it. Rosie Lee Thompson takes Inspire on an adventure into the secret past of the Arabian desert.
Stretching from southern Syria across northeastern Jordan and into Saudi Arabia, this vast plain has been left untouched for centuries and holds secrets to a forgotten past. It's the Harat al-Sham desert, and deep within it lies a sea of basalt stones and boulders. Waves of carved camels, gazelles, hunters, and ancient inscriptions are etched into the volcanic rocks. And many of the engravings are Safietic, indigenous alphabet that flourished in northern Arabia over 2 millennia ago. The region's early history is commonly linked to the birth of Islam, and little is known of its pre-Islamic past. But these carvings provide eyewitness accounts into this lost period. Dr. Ahmed El-Jalad analyzes the origin and authenticity of literary texts and inscriptions.
There are two ancient Arabias. There's the ancient Arabia of mythology and of folklore, and then there's the real ancient Arabia. To study that real world, you have to go out into the field. You have to do surveys, you have to excavate, you have to read these inscriptions. And only by doing that can you reconstruct the lives and the languages and the cultures of the people who actually inhabited the Arabian Peninsula before Islam.
With over 50,000 texts written in the Safidic alphabet, this desert hosts the largest corpus of pre-Islamic inscriptions. It also attests to the earliest stages of the Arabic language, challenging the notion that Arabic first materialized in the 1st century CE, but in fact emerged before the rise of Christianity. By creating an online dictionary and grammar portal, Ahmed has started to write the first evidence-based history of Arabic and its speakers before Islam.
The history of people's spoken language in the region. You can see this as an absolute shock when you start reading these texts from the rock, from the stone, to a local Jordanian who can make out, 60, 70% of the text while you're reading a 2,000-year-old document on stone.
These rock drawings are considered one of the first forms of graffiti and the earliest forms of artistic expression in the region. When Jordanian artist Rawan al-Adwan stumbled upon the Safavidic sketches, she was surprised to learn how little was known of her country's early history.
Since I have seen them, I studied them to observe their beauty in the desert. I produced paintings that reflect their essence, but with a new composition and color.
For both Ahmed and Rawan, documenting and preserving the ancient stones is vital, because the more we know about these relics, the deeper our understanding of the Arab world's cultural and linguistic origins may become.
Well, that ends our regional roundup for this episode. We hope you enjoyed the show. And before I say goodbye, here are some interesting finds we unearthed on Instagram this week. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.
Emirati from France presents her Moroccan henna tattoo. And the Slovakian Christina performs yoga at Al Ain Oasis.